my real name's Michael, and we haven't played for 14 years, and we've all got together the last few months, and we're going to give it a good go and see what happens.
And I'm Gary. My name's Gary, I'm in Not Sensibles.
And you are?
Bass player. And I'm 37.
Name and number.
I'm Scotland playing guitar.
Roger C. Rawlinson, keyboards and second guitar.
Right. So again, assuming people who get to watch this video know absolutely nothing about what's going on here today, would you like to give a brief introduction about this gig and how you feel about the whole weekend?
Yeah, it's in true nostalgic form. When we actually were doing it, was very anti-nostalgia, but as time goes on, you find that nostalgia is quite a powerful force for people to get into. Not just for the old 30-somethings, but for the young people as well, even though they're all a bit clonish. They look a bit clonish, but because the punk thing wasn't about how you look and identity, it was about, well, X-ray specs will tell you about identity and that it was about a human feeling, a human force at the time. And you'll see what it's all about when we go on.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Any comment on that?
So, sorry about that, I can't whisper. Yeah, we're finally coming to fashion now, you see, because blokes with big eyebrows and duffel coats have finally made the big time, and this fella was doing it way back when.
Fuck Oasis, we were doing it yonks ago.
So, unfortunately we can't be at Nebworth, but we're here.
We haven't seen each other for ages, for about 6 or 7 years at least. Some geezer phoned us up last year, asked us if they could do a CD of us, which we said yeah to, and some geezer this year has rung us up and said, can you do a gig? And it's been a real weird sort of experience for us to all get back together and to play together. We've done about 5 rehearsals and we'll see how it goes. It's a very strange experience for us.
So was you, how surprised was you when you started getting phone calls again after all those years?
Well, life's dead weird, and so you stop getting surprised by things. You just sort of go with the flow.
We've still had a certain amount of interest. It's never sort of died away. I mean, there's a younger generation that we meet now and again that like 20 years old. I remember what drummers here.
Like Floppy.
Our drummer's just arrived.
Do you want to jump in?
Yeah, indeed. There's our gaffer.
Alright, so where was we? Saying a new generation of 20-year-olds.
Yeah, they seem to remember they're not sensible, seem to play the records, and that's a lot of us going to be here tonight because obviously there was 10 to 14 years old when we first sort of came about, and hopefully we'll put it on for them tonight.
Okay. So, can you tell me why you actually got involved with punk rather than any other form of music?
Basically, it was punk that shows how easy it could be.
Yeah, well, I mean, come on. I mean, the thing was, like, in the early 70s, it was all disco, so coming from America, it was crap. It was John Travolta, people were dead normal, dancing with the handbags around, with the, going to bloody, Dorothy Perkins for the frocks, and that was a bag of shit, and things just had to break, and that's what we were into. We were all 16 and stuff, and that's what we were into, you know. And that's why we did it.
We were into it. Rock James Harvest.
All sorts of rubbish going on at that time.
40 years old.
Rubbish!
Rock and roll club.
He was.
So, basically, what were your ambitions as a band when you first started?
Did we have any?
We didn't have any, I don't think. Get pissed, have a good time.
If you listen to the same verse in Liverpool,
Yeah. Yeah. Meet girls, get stoned and stuff.
This is, that's not too far removed from what the youth are doing today, so, but punk was supposed to be special, wasn't it?
We're not putting the youth down today, you know, that's it's great, and we're into that as well, you know, so that's cool.
How do you think 96 compares with 76?
I thought 88, 89 in the garage thing compared with it a little bit more than what it does today. But,
well, these bands are starting again. Rather than, I mean, it's been all DJs, isn't it? Rave music, what have you, the last few years. But
warehousing and that in 89, 90,
yeah,
that was very similar.
Back into it again.
There's a lot out there, isn't there?
Yeah.
So, do you think that punk actually changed anything?
No.
Definitely not.
Definitely
Definitely
people's
not.
haircut.
Change people's bank balances, I suppose.
Haircut.
Malcolm McLaren.
It seemed to market the revolution very well and sort of took all the balls out of it, took all the steam out of it.
It was needed.
Oh yeah. I suppose it does have a knock-on effect, you know, definitely, and obviously it's proved it. Like, obviously, like it's supposed to be 20 years on, you know, and people are still talking about it and still coming to it, so it must have had an effect. Yeah, is the conclusion. Yeah.
So, what about personally? How did it change views?
I think it was, I don't know. I became more politically aware.
I think everybody's probably say the same thing. They were thinking it, but they weren't perhaps doing it, you know. But it was there, and it just sort of give you a chance to sort of express things as you thought they were. Although it's a pity you didn't think of it in the first place.
I don't really think you thought of anything that was
It's
going on around you. You just involved in doing playing music.
Sounds
You weren't really thinking political.
Yeah, I don't bring politics into it whatsoever. I mean, that's a total different thing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I can't speak for the rest of it, it's involved with some music side of it. If you can put something political in, fair enough. And if it gets a message across, all well and good.
What was the question?
Yeah, what was it? I just want to go out and have a good laugh.
Well, that's
finish end at night.
How did it change you personally?
That's right. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean,
Go to university.
yeah, it stopped us carrying on in a career and that, but I'd never change anything because I learned a lot more in the university of life and the university of punk rockers and all that sort of thing. Of music and of art and of people and togetherness and everybody getting together to try and fight against the system, which is obviously wanting a bit of changing, you know.
Okay. Right, so, by 78, the media pronounced punk dead. They'd had enough of it.
78.
What, by the end of the 70s?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they had 6 months of it and decided to put their foot down. That's it. Get on to the late 1980, 81, there was a new wave of punk, which was a lot more hardcore. I mean, how did you feel about that?
Well, for me, it had gone a stage further and it had gone away from why we started playing and become sort of a secondary movement. People seem to pick up on the image of it and were dressing to be punks rather than just being what they were. Which punks were originally what they felt and they dressed like, anything they liked to dress like. No particular uniform, if you will.
It's not changed much since.
No, a lot of the main early bands drifted away again at that time and it become a total different phase really. More post-punk for me, rather than it like representing what punk was.
Yeah. I must say I was highly influenced by, not by Discharge and GBH and that, but I was influenced by Crass and those kind of bands who had a real message behind it, and you know, if that's what you're talking about, that sort of image. And I think you know, when that sort of, the Crass sort of those sort of people sort of decided to knock it on the head, I personally would get lost. I had nothing to go for at that point then, you know. I mean, there were a lot of, like I say, people like sort of emulating Crass and the movement of Crass and Voice Pink Indians and all that lot. But when they said, right, that's it, we're not going to play live anymore, and that's it, I sort of thought, well, what happens next, you know? And I sort of was a bit lost at the time. I think there's definitely two channels for punk rock. They were, you know, and I think possibly that's why it split us up eventually. You know, like we were both sort of pulling in both directions at the same time.
Gary Bushell factor, really, wasn't it? You know, he was trying to
Gary Bushell
create us as like an oi band, football hooligans,
racist sort of punk band, you know, which we obviously
no Sage and Gary, who never even went to football, did he? So,
but it's the media again, and sort of putting labels on people to try and sort of break up this revolutionary sort of feeling of change that's going on.
But at the time as well, I mean, Northerners were thought, I mean, they're very well respected now, more than perhaps people from London, but at the time, just simpletons from the stick.
You know. Is there any more questions then?
Yeah. Right. So move on to this year. How did you react when you heard the Sex Pistols were reforming?
It just didn't bother me, I just saw it.
I thought it was alright, mate, and then I heard it on Radio 1, that Blackpool, it was brilliant. I didn't realise how heavy metal was.
I just think they're taking the piss again like they did from the beginning.
Yeah. Some coin, you know, but you don't need to do it, does it, John?
They're not trying to do what they did. First of all,
There's better bands been since then.
plenty of money in it for it, they'll come back and they'll do it, you know, good luck to it. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I like that. Is it how his hair was done? Fuck face.
So, if I was going to be really negative about the whole thing with the Pistols and this weekend, so it's just a big nostalgia trip, which was totally against everything that punk stood for. I mean, how would you react to that?
No, I mean, it's 20 years old. I mean, people will be here who is probably not even born. They have a right to see it as well.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people who met since we stopped playing and said, we really wish we'd had a chance to see you, we heard a lot about you, all sorts of other bands, never got a chance to see anybody. Well, this time at least they've got a bit of a glimpse of what it was like. It's obviously not going to be the same as it were 15 years ago, but it'll be as near as you can make it, if you will. Bit of a different atmosphere as well. Yeah. So it's not the same as it was. We're not going to be exactly the same as we were 15 years ago, no way. But we're going to come out and play and have a good laugh. That's what I want to do.
Okay. Right, so
the thing is, I mean, maybe another band.
if you could put one label on it, what do you stand for as a band?
We are formed.
We're not a band, are we? We're not a band.
We're reformed.
We've reformed especially for this concert, and it's a real selfish thing. You asked the last question. It's pertinent to this one because the answer for me is doesn't exist. It's very selfish, personal reasons doing it. Just because we used to enjoy it, and we want to try and regain that feeling and that feeling, camaraderie, whatever you call it. That's it. So I'm not interested in what anybody else thinks about it. Just doing it for the five of us. That's it.
Well, for everybody out there, and if they enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a bar doing it for everybody.
Well, yeah.
We'll show them how it should be.
No, it's just good.
No, it was.
You see, Rog used to write most of the songs. Have you got this on tape? He used to write most of the songs. He's a very creative man, and we're just doing it to look up to his shoes.
It's in my bloody shoes.
Okay. So each of you, personally, what's the best thing that came out of punk rock?
Best thing that came out of punk rock.
Tricky one.
Some of the music and that.
Not
Great
sensible.
shit, rock and roll.
Yeah, you could say not sensible.
For us,
Okay. What about the worst? Is there a worst?
Explosionist about?
Gary Bushell.
No, Gary Bush.
Worst thing?
I don't think he's
Worst thing that come out is all that, innit? Shape with, you know, just hundreds of them all spare 10 pence. That bloke was saying they all look different, they all look exactly the same, don't they? Some cool looking skinheads up and down with big
Yeah,
sides.
we side by that. Sounds some sat outside an
They
hotel.
look good, they look
Maybe
different.
for Sham 69 or
Yeah.
Okay, right. So in as few words as possible, what does punk mean to you?
Rock and roll.
Yeah, rock and roll.
I can't remember.
Punk means a time more than anything to me, which was when we were playing 78 to 82. That's what it means to me, personally.
Yeah, I don't listen to punk at the moment.
I always thought they call it something better than punk. I always thought punk. It's a bit of a naff name, really.
That's worse thing to come out of punk than
It's American, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
As soon as I heard Anarchy in the UK, I got rid of every record I had.
Barclay James Hall.
No, Hawk Wind and all this stuff.
They're not so bad.
It was just punk from then on.
Well, that's the same for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think everybody did that, though, didn't they?
But
Song that's then every now and again you get one back.
Of course they did.
Now I'm back to all the old stuff.
Floyd's relics and stuff like
I
that.
suppose it's hard to think back, but it did give a fresh look on music. It just gone to the point when people like us couldn't play it because you had to be involved with massive record companies, you had to be able to play perfectly, you had to go to music school before you'd be taken seriously, all sort of thing. It just blew all that away.
Yeah.
Gave a lot of people a chance to be creative.
Yeah.
That's
You
what
only
it did
need to
for us.
listen to instant classic.
Yeah. 500 quid, 1,000 records, 1,070
Fairly
singles, and that
intense
were it,
time,
you know,
yeah.
500 quid you could do it.
Loads of bands
including
making
recording
loads of singles.
time and that, so you did it. And that's where it should go back to, isn't it, really? You know, so more people could make more music, be more creative, and that's what it's about, isn't it? It's a creative surge that goes through the whole community of people, you know.
That's it. Anything else you'd like to mention?
No, so.
No?
That's what thanks.
All right. Cheers. Thanks for your time.